Hey everybody, welcome back to the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms. Today we're going to talk about some things that I was able to find in the film for the preseason game. A little bit of information that I was able to gather. I really liked watching Anthony Hitchens play in the two or three ish series that they got. He looks rejuvenated. He looks very, very smart in terms of seeing things develop and getting downhill very quickly. And we're going to talk a little bit about the left tackle position, what's going to happen there, and get into some of the film as it would be. Now, I can't disclose how I was able to get a hold of this. So please don't ask. I cannot tell. But before we do any of that, make sure you guys are hitting the like, the sub, that bell notification so we can get all you guys all caught up with everything that Ryan and I do. And Seth, everyone here at the RGR channel every single week. Also hit up that RGR store. Like, look at this stuff right here, guys. Like this is some new stuff, some new equipment they got down there, some shirts. This actually has staff on the back of it, so I'm pretty excited about that. Make sure you guys are hitting everything you want, getting out of this channel as much as we put in. I really hope you guys enjoy this because this is a little sneak peek for all of you. If you're on Twitter, you following me over the course of the last 24 hours, you have seen that I've got some all 22 for you. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into that because I think that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So, the very first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, is Anthony Hitchens. I think watching him play football has been a very up and down thing for a lot of Chiefs fans. But one thing you can really take away from him in his third year in this defense is that he starts to really understand what's going on, things that are happening, as it would be. Anthony Hitchens has done a very good job of getting all the information in at once now that he is the guy back there, the elder statesman as it would be in this defense in terms of number of snaps for this whole defense. I think he's the only guy outside of Sorensen that's played here the most, considering Matthew came in after uh, Sutton was let go, but Hitchens was here before that, so he's going to do a very good job of reading where this play is going and getting downhill and kind of just waiting for things to happen. Um, you know, being able to see things as that happen as it would be for a lot of these players is key for making plays, especially at linebacker. And you're going to see right here as the Heat gets down into this little almost C gap between the outside the outside pass blocker here and where the tackle was, and then he's just going to wait in that seam right there. That's a Debo Samuel. So he's just going to wait, sees the other blocker coming around here, and just sniffs up there. Does a good job of waiting on Nick Bolton, actually, who's coming down here as well. These linebackers are helping each other out. Hitchens is helping out Nick Bolton a lot. He's using that speed to his advantage. And when you can have him lining up Nick Bolton, it's a huge advantage for, see, look, he's, obviously helping him get out there. And this whole play with Debo Samuel out here down wide, being able to get into this gap with this, we'll just call it the puller, seeing the puller come through, he's getting through that gap and he's coming down and trying to just wait for that guy to help. And obviously Bolton does a good job of getting underneath there too. So Anthony Hitchens smarting, being very smart player that he's become, and really he was when he came over from the Cowboys, showing that growth that he's retaining this defense, and he's now playing some of his best football. I really think that we're seeing the best of Anthony Hitchens, the guy that I thought we were going to be getting when he came over from Dallas. So again, another job, waiting, and you see him split that gap once more. I'll show you right here. Just he's inching over, and he's just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. Again, does a good job of waiting on that, just getting through that gap, finding and penetrating in those gaps right here. You can see him, he's cheating a little bit to this outside because you have, all of these blockers out here. So you've got, this extra on this side. If it is a counter, then you're going to have to rely on Chris Jones and hopefully Nick Bolton to see it come that way to do that. But again, he's cheating because he knows that essentially this run is coming here. This is what the 49ers really like to do. And it's one of the reasons they were able to catch the Chiefs sleeping on that very first play from scrimmage to Debo Samuel. Just a huge chunk play based off of being able to really move the Chiefs one direction and coming back off of play action here. Again, Hitchens just kind of waiting his turn, not making him seem like a threat because they do want to get this ball, the runner to the outside. So you have the block here, and then once he notices that this tackle's blocking down on Dana here, he has his shoulders turned sideways, so parallel with the hashes here. That's when he jumps on this because he knows he can get down that line here and get upfield right there. He knows he's too late. The tackle is too late to do anything about it. So a good job of recognizing and seeing the ball, getting there, just kind of waiting it out, and getting underneath and making that tackle for a short gain. I really think that this defense is going to be a lot better than people think it is. And the improved speed of Anthony Hitchens, it looks like he's a bit lighter. He's obviously more comfortable. When you're more comfortable in defense, you're going to be able to move quicker. And like, look at this. This is one of the more impressive things that he did in this entire game. We saw him run down that Brandon Ayuk play earlier in the game that they ended up getting that first down off of after anyway. But one thing I want you to really notice here is obviously, telling Nick Bolton just widen out a little bit, and I want you to just watch him get out to the edge. He knows this ball's getting out there. He's got to beat the guard here to his spot because watch what I'm talking about right here. Actually, it was the center. He's got to get across the face of the center and get to this gap to really force the running back inside. And again, he does a good job of just busting out of there, getting downfield, getting through blocks, coming back around and making a play. That kind of speed is something I haven't seen a whole lot of Anthony Hitchens. But again, when you know the defense, when you recognize things that are happening on the offensive side, that is what unlocks a full linebacker's potential. Really, in my opinion, I think it's not just really opinion; it's a personal fact. When you can play loose and fast, knowing what's coming and knowing that a team like the 49ers want to run the football. They want to get this zone all the way to the end. They want to run that outside zone. He's getting downfield, trying to force it back outside again. Good job by Tershawn Wharton forcing him back inside too. You guys just obviously watch Wharton here being a beast. But again, the speed from Anthony Hitchens also paying off with a tackle. But the guys that they have up front with Tershawn Wharton coming across the face here, not getting moved, doing some more vertical pushing himself, flashing right there. Again, Dana doing a good job. A lot of guys we can talk about in terms of being able to set the edge well and play well in the run defense. Dana does a good job of working through a block on the tight end, comes underneath. Yeah, again, lots of good stuff you're seeing from the defense here. Really, really fun to watch that group. And when I'm talking about the defense with Anthony Hitchens that's playing loose and fast, that's going to make them way better. When you get Willie Gay back, and let's just assume that Nick Bolton plays a little bit more than we expected from the beginning of the season. You have speed on this defense and with an Anthony Hitchens that knows the plays that he's seeing. He's doing the film study and he's relaying that all to these young linebackers, these young athletic linebackers. That's going to unlock the full potential of this defense because the weak spot, as it has been for years, has been the linebackers. So I like seeing an Anthony Hitchens running all over the field, really showing off that he's got some speed still. He's lost a little bit of weight. He looks more trim and more comfortable as he's ever been in this defense. All right, now we're going to switch over to the left tackle position. I know that today is Tuesday. Yesterday on Monday, they talked about how Mike Remmers came back from practice and he was slated to be the backup left tackle as it is right now. He's the swing tackle. It looks to be that, Niang is doing a good job of holding on to that right tackle position. If he takes any falters back, I do expect them to get Remmers some reps in there just to keep, his weapon fresh or his whistle wetted as it would be, whatever you want to call it, anything, just keep him come more comfortable come the regular season. So the Chiefs had, and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I do apologize, Prince Tega Wanogho at left tackle in this preseason game. He is a depth piece that I do believe can make this roster. I know they have Remmers slated as the left tackle, as the backup left tackle, but let's take a little bit of a look at the left tackle depth in and of itself. I want you to look at who's playing right tackle right here. Just if you can, that's it's Andrew Wiley, and yeah, he had a good showing against the Saints last year. But I think in a perfect world, you'd like to have Mike Remmers as the backup right tackle. If we're being completely honest with you, he didn't play great at left tackle in the Super Bowl. We all remember that. I do think his ideal spot would be the backup right tackle or the interior guard positions. Those two he plays better. So I decided I want to get a look at Winogo just to see what we got in this guy in terms of athleticism. We all know he's an athletic guy. He tested extremely well. The medicals are what we're talking about. So let's get a little bit of look here and see what we got. One thing that I want you to look at in this specific play is that this is not showing his athleticism. It's showing the one thing that I think he can really use to his advantage in his attacking defenders. He's not the strongest guy up front, but again, when you can use your burst out of your stance and get in a defender's face, that's really what you're going to be able to do. And this is exactly what you want to see. I wouldn't say his pad level is perfect, but this is good. Stance here, it's a little wide set. That's another thing he has. His feet can get a little bit wide with his pass sets and his run blocking as well. But here you do this little jump set and you attack, and that gives him very good positioning. He's got both hands on him, and he does a very good job of keeping the leverage in this situation because there he moves with him that way. A lot of his pass sets, the ones that I saw that weren't that great, he was more of a passive, like I said, with that wide base. And when you have that wide base, and he likes to two-hand jab sometimes, if you have that wide base and you're using a two-hand jab, you know what that's going to do? It's going to put your feet all the way apart, and then you have weight distributed all the way in front. And that makes it very easy for for defensive ends to kind of swipe your arms away, move around you because it takes a lot more, a lot more time to get your feet moving in that direction when they're just so wide set. So this is a good job of attacking. He does a good job of recovering right there because that jump set can get your weight distribution off a little bit. And like I said, he does a good job of finding his feet underneath him. He has a little bit of a two-hand jab here right there. Good job of recovering and just keeping with him. You can kind of see at the end there, he just tries to grab the wrist of the defensive end, something that Mitchell Schwartz was very, very, very good at, the Winchester. I believe that's what they call it. Maybe not. It slipped my mind, but yeah. So one thing that I really, really think is important for him to make this roster is to continue showing plays like this. You're As a tackle, you're pass setting, obviously, and when you are pass setting, you're going to tend to become more passive than aggressive, especially with the athleticism some of these guys possess, and the ability. And if you can just kind of notice something really quick here, you've got not hugely huge splits here, pretty normal, and this split is a bit bigger than all of them. So he's already giving himself room in terms of this defensive end can come here, or he can, come back around, which he does try to do on this specific play. Um, and that's something that you have to be able to trust your recovery athleticism. He does a good job of essentially baiting this defensive end and coming across his face. I like that kind of recovery athleticism to jab when he's coming across your face. That's something that you don't see a whole lot of tackles being able to do, staying with him as well, making sure he doesn't get you beat. But the one area that this can really get you in trouble in terms of the splits is guys that are much, much quicker and can really attack that outside edge and force you to turn your shoulders, something that young tackles are more apt to do and get those shoulders parallel to the sideline. And that's really what causes defensive ends like a Nick Bosa, for example, to come in across your face. But we're talking about the potential of a guy here, a backup, not someone who's slated to start, which is really perfect for him because I think that he's got all of the athletic ability in the world. I think that the functional strength is there. He's not the strongest guy, but again, being able to recognize where he's going, pass set, come through, come across your face, and at the end of the play here, helps out Pringle, getting the guys off of him, helps him up. So I really, really like the guy. He's a good teammate, I think, too, and that's something that you really, really need. Is it from a backup? Cam Irving was one of those guys on this team who's a great teammate. He really was more of a backup, even though he was a starter for the Chiefs. I think his ideal spot would be a backup, but he's being, unfortunately, you know, signed to start places or being signed and then having to be started, and it just doesn't work out for him that way. So he's much better as a backup coming off the bench, things like that. I think that Prince here can do a good job of that for the Chiefs this year, and maybe he develops into something more down the road. I know that right now that spot is taken by Orlando Brown, but if you have somebody that you have faith in, that one will make Brown push and to get better. And, the best guy wins out. It's best for the team to have that kind of healthy competition. Like I said, he's an athlete. They want to be able to use their tackles like this a lot to get them on the edge, use that athleticism and get some of the speed in Jerick McKinnon to the edge. So what I want you to notice here is that this is actually set up really well initially to get them to the edge. Unfortunately, he was talking to Allegretti right there about that specific play. He's got to get out in front of him. So really, Allegretti needs to get here. And then we're talking about here and here. And then this is really set up well because they have blockers in front. But unfortunately, he's not able to get there just in time. He's a little bit too straightforward and not trying to come around. And you can see Prince here, he gets out on his horse. He gets in a really good job to get out, hand fight, and get in front of that guy right there. So I like being able to watch his athleticism in motion. It makes him a very desirable player, in my opinion, to be a backup on this team. Whether he gets there or not, we're going to end up finding out as camp unfolds. I really think that one thing to look for with Prince is, does he come out next preseason game and get that second left tackle rep? That's what he did here. He played well into the third quarter, and I think he did a overall a pretty good job. There are some deficiencies in his game, like we just talked about. He has that two-hand jab, and some of his footwork is a little wonky at times, but again, things you can work out. He's a young guy with lots of talent, and I really think he can help this team being a backup and not have to rely on a guy like Mike Remmers, who at the end of his career doesn't have the long arms. He doesn't have that athleticism. I just think that this is a type of player you want on the roster to be a backup with the tackle depth that the Chiefs have. So that's going to be it for this film session. I really think that they have some pieces going forward. We're going to get to see some of these guys again after cuts are made. They were actually made earlier today. I haven't recorded this on Monday, so I haven't been able to see those yet. I'm hoping to be able to see guys like Prince and Doris Fountain, who I had a tweet about yesterday, played really, really well. I think Allegretti's a solid interior piece. I think Blythe and him will rotate a little bit here and there as practice goes on. But this is a lot of fun, guys. I'm excited to be able to watch the Small 22 about the preseason, even though it's just the preseason. But I hope you guys enjoyed it and getting a little bit of information about Anthony Hitchens and a possible guy to make this roster at left tackle as a backup. I really hope he does. So again, I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.